Good morning. This is a Mars Hill lecture for Grammar 3 Latin for 1207, and we are discussing lesson 15. All right. So this week, in the past weeks, we've started studying pronouns. This week we are studying the third person pronouns, as well as the third person possessive pronoun adjective. Okay, so the third person pronoun it looks strange a little bit in the singular, but the plural is totally regular. So let's look at the plural first. So the plural goes in the masculine ei, eorum, eis, eos, eis. In the feminine, ai, earum, eis, eas, eis. And in the neuter, ea, eorum, eis, ea, eis. So these endings look a lot like, in fact, identical to first and second declension adjective endings, or noun endings even. The singular is a little bit different. First of all, the is and the id don't look like first, second declension masculine or neuter endings. And then also the genitive and the dative in all three genders are unusual, but they all match each other. These can remind you of the Naughty Nine, as the book likes to call it, the Naughty Nine. So, for example, solus goes solus, solius, soli, and then returns to a normal solum, solo. So these genitive and dative endings are a little bit like the Naughty Nine endings. Other than that, they are regular. So the accusative is eum, eam, and id to match the nominative singular. Remember the neuter rule, that neuters always agree in or match in the nominative and accusatives. Okay, same in the plural. They have ea in the nominative case and ea in the accusative case. Okay, so this is a declension of is, ea, id, which is he, she, or it. Third person pronouns have gender, number, and case. Their forms may look difficult to learn, but on analysis you see that they're easy. We first looked at the plural forms, which are completely regular. The stem is the letter E, and the endings are identical to the three genders of the first and second declension nouns and adjectives. At the singular forms, notice that the genitive and the dative singular are similar to these same forms in the Naughty Nine, like we said, but the accusative and the ablative are like the first and second declension adjectives. Notice that these pronouns obey the neuter rule, as I mentioned. Okay, so you want to practice reciting these. There are two ways to recite the pronouns here in the third person. You could go across the top, so you could do masculine, nominative, singular, feminine, then neuter, and then go eus, 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 a, eum, eam, id, ao, ao. You could do that, but I would recommend that if you do that, you also do it by gender. So go is, eus, ei, eum, ao, ei, eorum, eis, eos, eis, and then do the feminine and then the neuter. So you can practice it the way that they're suggesting here, but also do it by gender so that you can divorce them if necessary to do just the masculine in your head, as well as going across the board like they're suggesting. Okay, third person pronouns obey the pronoun agreement rule. Remember that the pronoun agreement rule is that pronouns have to match their antecedent in gender and number, but not necessarily case, because the case is determined by the use in its own clause. Forms of is and ea mean he and she respectively when referring to persons or animals. So Marcus est bonus, eum amo. Marcus is good, I like him. Lucia est bona, eum amo. Lucy is good, I like her. So the eum is the masculine form and the eam is the feminine form. When the antecedent is a non-living thing with grammatical gender, you translate forms of is and ea with the English pronoun it. So quibus est bonus, eum amo. That means the food is good, I like it. Even though this is a masculine form, it's only masculine so that it can agree with quibus being masculine. So because it has grammatical gender, we still translate an it like an it, because food is an it. Okay, so similarly, aqua est bona, eam amo. We wouldn't say the water is good, I like her. You would say I like it. And donum est bonum id amo. The gift is good, I like it. Not, well, it is already it, so that works out. All right. Moving on to the next page. All right. The third person possessive pronoun adjectives. Reflexive. Okay. So suus, sua, suum is a possessive pronoun adjective for the third person. A reflexive pronoun refers back to the subject of its own clause. This is almost guaranteed to be a grammar question, either on your homework or on your quiz. So the reflexive pronoun adjective refers back to the subject of its own clause. Suus is equivalent to the first and second possessive pronoun adjectives meos, tuus, noster, vester. It functions as an adjective and agrees with its noun in gender, number, and case. So, it functions as an adjective, so it agrees in gender, number, and case. That's the adjective agreement rule, right? So, Caesar milites suos laudat. Caesar praises the soldiers, milites, but whose soldiers? His own soldiers. So, Caesar praises his soldiers. And you can translate it his or his own, whichever one you want to. But you make sure that the his referred to here in your mind is referring to the subject of its own clause. When his, her, its, or their are not reflexive, when these words refer to someone or something other than the subject, the genitive of the third person pronoun is used. Okay, so in this case, Caesar praises, if you wanted to say Caesar praises somebody else's soldiers, we would say Caesar laudat eius milites, the soldiers of him, some other guy. Well, I can't read that. Of somebody else. So the genitive forms eius, eorum, and earum function as pronouns, not adjectives. They obey the pronoun agreement rule, not the adjective agreement rule. So his villa or her villa is eius villa when it means somebody else's. So the villa of him or her. Similarly, eorum villa is their villa, the villa of those people, and earum, their villa, referring to females. Okay, notice that eorum, earum do not agree with villa villae, but with the antecedent, because they obey the pronoun agreement rule. They're agreeing with their antecedent in gender and number. The genitive forms usually precede their nouns and show as shown in the examples. So genitive forms usually precede the nouns. Precede. Okay, you also have some new vocabulary. All of these are places, as you can tell, and a lot of them are kind of easy to memorize because they're a lot like the English. So Atenae is Athens, Britannia, Britain, Caledonia, Scotland, Carthago, Carthage, Europa, Europe, Germania, Germany, Graecia, Greece, Helvetia, Switzerland, and Hibernia, Ireland. These are fairly easy to memorize, but one that trips people up is Atenae. Atenae looks like it's plural because it goes Atenae, Atenarum, Atenis, Atenas, and Atenis. Okay? But it's only plural in form, not in meaning. So the mistake that people make often is to say that the word for Athens is Athena, Athenae. But you have to give plural looking forms for Athens. And then you have Isea, id, the third person pronoun, and suus, sua, suum, the third person personal possessive pronoun adjective. All right. And that is all for today. As you saw in your email, I'd like you to upload PDFs of your homework, your worksheets, and your quizzes to the Google Classroom under the assignment page for that week, for that assignment. And please do that today if you would like to have full credit for it. Unless you have a parental excuse, I need to have it uploaded today. If you have trouble, have someone call me or text me or email me, and I will help you get it uploaded because I know it can be tricky sometimes. All right, God bless you.